Howdy, y'all.
This
is a podcast from the ground up.
And I'm your host and the leader of the house, Casey.
Howdy, y'all.
Want to start it?
I mean, I don't know how many times you want me to say howdy, y'all. Howdy, you guys.
Hey, you betcha.
Hey, you guys. How you doing? How you doing?
No, that's like if you're
how
Italian.
you doing?
If you're like you're Italian, you move up north.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys. hey, how you doing? No.
Boom. Boom. Oh,
I'm waiting for you.
I thought you were going to lead.
Oh my! I thought you were the leader of the house.
Am, but after our last episode, you got a little butthurt because you thought you wore the pants. So I'm letting you wear the shorts or the knees.
The knees.
I'm letting you put on the
That's
knees.
a good story. Hey guys, this is Ashley and Casey with.
From the ground up.
We have done a prelude, a prelim, a
Pilot.
a pilot.
It's a pilot.
A preview. Like I feel like of all of the terms.
A pilot is like an episode 1, so
Okay.
this would be episode 2.
Oh,
Pilot.
no,
episode
bullshit!
2.
You told me pilot was not an episode.
Yes.
No.
It's the first episode.
Okay. We need to make this very clear.
It's
because
a pilot.
we literally named it
episode
pilot,
2.
not an episode.
You did.
No. No.
Because you were upset that I called it a pilot.
Okay.
But it's
Back up.
a pilot,
Back up.
and then it's episode 2.
Well, this is episode 1. We're going to name this
So we're
episode
gonna
1.
pretend like the episode.
The pilot was
the
a
pilot-
preview.
So the pilot was not an episode.
No. The pilot was a preview.
Okay,
So this is
doesn't
episode
exist.
1. And we had a lot of new and exciting and weird parenting experiences this weekend. So we thought, what better way to start this off than to discuss one of the most difficult, crazy journeys that there are. And I would say that's parenthood. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whirlwind of emotions.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that don't know, we have 2 children, and an 8-year-old who is almost 9, by the way, because he would be pissed if I didn't mention that he's almost 9.
No.
An almost 9-year-old and a 6-year-old who just turned 6 last month, but likes to now tell people she's 6.5. So, you
It's
know,
legit.
it's illogical, is what that is.
Pretty logical.
So we have a boy and a girl. Our boy is the older. And this weekend, my daughter and I traveled up to see some family, and Casey stayed home with Jack. And so that was experience 1. We try and do, like,
Yeah, we do the
dad,
the
mom
daughter.
dates
Yeah.
where they get individual time with us, but it's not usually a whole weekend.
No,
So.
this was a first for sure.
Yeah. We have 2 polar opposite children. So I think Casey and I are pretty opposite as well. But if you're looking like introvert versus extrovert, we have our 8-year-old is definitely an extrovert. And you can put him on a playground, and within a minute, he has the entire playground playing a game together. Whereas our daughter is Casey Jr. and would prefer to just play alone in her room with her
That's-
superheroes and Barbies and like
I play
not
nice
talk to
when I-
any
I
people.
play nice when I get along with people. So
Yes, but you don't come out, you have a shell, a very thick shell, and you don't actually become who you are until you are fully comfortable with
but I feel
that
like
person.
That's everybody. I feel like if you walk into a room and you don't know people, you're an introvert until
No.
you get comfortable, and then you blossom into an extrovert.
No, not everybody is like that. Some people are introvert through and through. They never become an extrovert.
Yeah, some
Even
people
around
some people
people.
are weird and they just walk into a room and
You are
start
an
talking
introvert,
to
so you're
people.
talking about yourself. Like you have, yes,
I feel like
absolutely.
the majority of people are an introvert, and then they become extrovert once they get comfortable.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I am disagreeing with the fact that you're saying everybody starts off as an introvert, which is not necessarily true. There are people who are naturally people oriented. It's great for them. I mean, they're probably really great at sales roles and
Yeah.
making friends, but I don't know. Some people are not always introverted, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, some people aren't part of the Fantastic Four.
The Fantastic Four. Yeah, Casey has 3 friends, myself included.
I have more, but we have a group.
A group.
The Fantastic
Groupie.
Four.
He's a groupie.
Not a groupie.
Okay.
It's kind of like a gang.
Yeah, it is.
No, not a gang. It's like a team.
A team. There you go.
I'm a superhero.
People you trust. You should surround yourself with people that lift you up. And I think it's hard to find those people. And once you find them, you kind of just stick to them. So that's probably yeah. So Sadie is introverted, and we drove, I don't know, 6.5, 7 hours, and she was amazing in the car. She's such a good kid, and we were at dinner, and she took to one of my cousins who, this poor girl. I mean, the entire time they're sitting at dinner, it's just like, let me tell you about this, or let me tell you about that, or
which I feel like she's becoming more comfortable.
Yeah. But normally, the normal Sadie would have never done that. She would have never just spewed off story after story to somebody she had maybe met once before but never remembered meeting.
Yeah.
So
I feel like she's starting to come around.
Yeah. It was really cool because then after dinner, she looked at her and she goes, "Can I ask you something?" And my cousin goes, yeah, you can ask me something. And Sadie goes, "Will you be my BFF?" And you should have seen her face. And she was like, "Absolutely, it'd be my honor to be your BFF." And Sadie went, "Yes." Like, just super happy. And she talked about it, like, all night. And so that was really cool to see. Meanwhile, Jack was at his first sleepover, birthday sleepover.
Yeah, second sleepover. But.
Well, the first sleepover was at the Fantastic Four's house, so that's not fair. Or half of the Fantastic Four's house. That's not a fair. I would trust.
It's not a fair. But
we trust Vicky and Matt as much as we trust, your mom or my sisters. Like, it's not. That's not a fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the first sleepover with people that we didn't really know.
We didn't know.
Yeah. We don't know enough. Obviously, we know whose house he was at, but like we don't have a great friendship with these people.
We were at Chuck E. Cheese. We found a cool couple. We said, "Yeah, take them home."
Yeah. Well, for those of you that know me, I am. What would you call me? Like, I'm not a worrywart. A worrywart's not the right term.
That's not even a term.
It's not?
A worrywart?
A worrywart? Yeah, like a worrywart. Somebody who worries all the time.
Never heard of that.
It absolutely is a term.
I've heard like a helicopter.
Is that what you're calling me?
No, I'm not saying that you're a helicopter parent.
Maybe a little.
But I've never heard of that.
I'm not a helicopter parent in the sense that like I hover over them. But do I need to know? Yeah. Do I need to know where they're at and what they're doing? 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Which, in today's world, I mean, it's kind of hard to not be overprotective. You never know. You never know who people really are.
Yeah. Well, that's what Casey and I were talking. So Jack just learned how to ride his bike this summer on his own, like without training wheels. And we live in a cul-de-sac, so he just goes up and down the street a couple of blocks down and comes back. And I will stand at the glass door, and it drives Casey crazy. He's like, just let him play. Like, but if I can't see him, what if something bad happens? And then that one time I'm not looking, you're going to be like, why the fuck weren't you looking out the door?
No, I'll just give you some binoculars and you can...
Yeah, he did. I'm not staring out the window with binoculars. I just wanted to see him come back. Like, I'm not that crazy, am I? Like, there are other parents that are also like, I don't know, when do you let go? Like, maybe I'm at that point where I probably should, like, let it.
I think Jack's at the age that we can set him free.
Set him free, really? He's not 18. He's almost 9. Almost 9, not 18. That's a big difference. Big difference.
I mean, set him free in the fact that, like, go beyond the...
But most of the time he's riding his bike, Sadie's there too.
Yeah.
So you can't... I'm also watching my 6-year-old daughter. Like,
Yeah.
It's different because she's playing with them, and I just feel like she's obviously not ready. Like, Jack is probably borderline. He probably could. I mean, all the other boys' moms in the neighborhood don't stand at their door watching.
Probably
so,
not.
I mean...
What we could do, we could get Jack a taser.
A taser.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what we did do was get Jack a gizmo watch. That's what we did do this weekend. Because
it's a great investment.
Yeah. I was going to be out of state, and Casey doesn't worry as much as I do. And so I thought the gizmo watch would be a great idea. Casey helped him set it up, and they practiced on it Friday night or whatever. And Jack called me, probably no joke, 20 times on Friday when we were traveling up north. And then come Saturday, it was crickets. Like, I didn't hear shit from him all day.
Yeah,
and then
even when we would send him a message, but when we were at
he didn't
my work, I would turn around and he was gone.
Yeah, calling me every 5 minutes. Like, I made a bet. It was like we had got off the phone let's say it was 1 o'clock or something like that in the afternoon, and my mom, who was traveling with me, goes, I bet you he calls you before 1:15. And I was like, I bet you're right. He's definitely going to call before 1:15. 1:05 rolls around, and this kid is calling me again. He had nothing better to do than to play with that dang watch. But come Saturday, I was old news, and he didn't want to call me, which was fine. I could still see where he was at, so I feel like that's the helicopter part of me, is that you can GPS them. So for those of you that want to buy your kids phones, cool. Like, you can do that on the phone, because I know that our friends' kids have phones, so you can track them that way. But he's not. I don't think he's quite responsible enough to hold on to a phone. That's what we were worried about. Is like, you set a phone down and it's gone. And I agree. I think the phone would be constantly in his hand if it were Minecraft or Roblox or whatever the heck else they play, and he could sit down and play it. But if he is out at, Sky Zone or something for a birthday party, I just don't know that he would remember to grab it. And, I mean, it would fall out. Even if he kept it in his pocket, it would fall out. So, being attached to his wrist was, it was good. So 1 o'clock rolls around. Well, first of all, we made sure he got home okay from the birthday party. But then 1 o'clock rolls around, and this kid is calling me. Went to bed sometime between 1 and 3. We don't really know. He called me. I was talking to his dad, and he said, I think they took turns going to sleep, because every time I would wake up, 2 of them would be talking, and 1 of them would be sleeping. Oh my gosh. So his attitude today tells me that he didn't sleep at all. Well, he was an emotional mess today. I mean, this kid is so tired. He thinks he went to bed sometime between 1 and 3 and woke up sometime between 5 and 7. So he got, no sleep. And he is just... And it shows. Yeah, no, it definitely shows. It definitely does. So, and then, of course, I'm in the car, and, everybody, no matter how you treat your kids, everybody has something to say about what your how you're parenting, right? Like, I feel like no matter what, somebody has something to say. And so we, I think something that we've learned early on in parenting is that we have our own style, and it might not be the favorable style, but Casey and I work really well together in our parenting. I feel like when I'm freaking out, he's super calm, and when he's freaking out, I'm super calm. So
just kind of balance each other out.
Yeah.
And we've learned that you can't parent to try to make someone else happy. I mean, you gotta do what works for you and how you want to raise your kids. And no matter what you do, someone's gonna have something to say. Either they're too hard, not hard enough. Kids are terrorizers, or they're angels.
Right.
But I mean, it all comes down to parenting styles, and we work together, good together.
Right.
I mean, we have the same views
for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, there's always times where we might feel like the other is being too harsh, but we don't undermine each other in the situation.
Most of the time. I say that because there's always
me sometimes. So
I do. Like, there are exceptions. There are exceptions because I feel like, especially when it comes to parenting, I know I'm a hypocrite. Yes. Like, I can admit that my problem is that I truly am a hypocrite, and I can't. It's something that I feel like I can't help. I'm obviously working on it. Because one, that makes me a better mom, knowing that I am a hypocrite and working through it. Yeah. And two, it makes our marriage stronger when I can say, here's my fault. I know I am a hypocrite. So when I am a hypocrite, or when I make a decision that I know I would not have liked if Casey were to have made that decision, it kind of makes me think a little bit more in how I should react or respond. And then through communication, just kind of work through that. But I don't have an example. Like, I don't know exactly what I'm a hypocrite about. It's just discipline a little.
There's times where either when, and I do it too, where you're disciplining them or I'm disciplining them, and when you're sitting on the outside, like, God, that's harsh. Like, like,
whew,
it's not that big of a deal.
Calm down, yeah.
But when you flip the roles, it's the same thing that either one of us would do. So it's kind of...
We've heard it quite a bit, and this weekend too. So you have to take, obviously, what comes from family. They love you, and they just try and give you their love and advice. But sometimes they're not in it every day, or they don't understand the why behind the way that you parent. And I'm a firm believer that Jack and Sadie are our kids because we are the kind of parents that Jack and Sadie needed. That God has made us their parents because we are exactly who they needed to make them who they need to be. Does that even make any sense? I don't know, but...
No, it makes sense. I mean, it's all in God's plan.
Yeah. So we hear a lot that we are too hard on our kids. And maybe we are in certain circumstances. But how many times, and this is not a parent brag by any means, but how many times have you heard, like, you have such well-behaved children? Yeah, or your kids are so respectful. Or your kids are so good. Or... our kids are also little assholes. Like, I definitely need to make sure that I'm not the parent that's like, my kids are great and your kids are shitheads. That's not the case at all.
They behave. I mean, but that's because we've instilled those expectations in them that, you need to be respectful to adults. You need to watch what you're saying. You need to be respectful.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm repeating myself, but
No.
I mean, but they're not always that way. But when they're not, we correct them.
For the most part. Again, they're still 6 and 8, so, like, they're still kids.
We still have to remember that they're kids.
Right.
And they're not perfect.
Right.
And neither are we, so...
And we have shitty days, so kids should also be allowed to have cruddy days. I am a firm believer that sometimes just, like, crying it out is... all you need, because sometimes that's all I need. But something I've noticed that I do, like, I'm a yeller. I feel like, I shouldn't say that. I was a yeller. Like,
Well,
I
no,
was.
You've been,
I have,
working on
probably
keeping-
for like the last 3 months, I would say I've really tried to, like, just
have
take a
more
deep breath
patience.
before I react, because I think what happens is, like, things get moving so quickly and I just react. I don't think about, okay, well, hang on a second, because it's really not that big of a deal. And it's not like I would yell over spilt milk. Like, that's not the kind of things I would yell at.
You
It's
just
the,
cry.
huh?
You just cry.
Yeah, especially if I just mop the floor. No, I'm kidding.
It was a joke.
I said I'm just kidding.
No, you said I wouldn't yell over spilt milk. I said, but you'd cry.
Oh, because you
You
don't
don't
cry
cry
over
over
spilt
spilt
milk.
milk.
Okay.
Come on.
Whatever.
I teed it up, and you just...
Sorry. My bad. It really wasn't that funny.
It was very funny.
Not really. I mean, I
have
thought
to
it
get
was
the-
like a...
You have to get the joke.
Well,
for
that's
to be
just
funny.
it. Like, if the...
Everybody knows that joke.
It's not that I didn't get the joke. That wasn't funny.
It was very funny.
Anyway. Whatever. What would I yell at? Just, like, them fighting. They bicker all the time. Or the...
Fighting, the whining,
This is it right
complaining.
here. Yeah, the whining. The whining gets me. But this, I
Not
think
listening.
the biggest thing is the not listening. Be like, can you clean up your room, please? Can you clean up your room? Will you please clean up your room? Hey guys, let's go clean up our room. Hey guys, will you clean up your room? I'm not kidding. Probably like by the 7th time, I'd lose it.
Yeah.
And now I'm
Which
like,
is understandable.
it's all like, whoa, I better go clean my room. And I told Casey, it's like, I don't understand why mom has to lose her shit before you listen. So then, like, half the time I was just skipping the 6 and just go clean your room. Like, just yell it.
Yeah.
Because
'Cause that's
it would
all
just
they
get
would
there
respond
anyway. I mean, I might as well just get to the point.
Mhm.
But I have learned that I don't know what happened. I just took a step back, and I don't want to be that mom. I really
Just
don't.
trying to be more
Yeah.
self-aware.
Yeah. So I'm trying to be calm, and I feel like it's I've done a pretty dang good job, actually. So that was bad. There you go. But I don't know. You're not really a yeller, but when you get mad, you get mad. Like you.
Yeah, no,
But,
I do.
yeah.
I try not to, but when
It's
I
like the
snap-
little things that you get irritated about. You're so calm about some of the other things that I feel like I freak out over.
'cause that's what a leader has to do.
Okay. Oh my God. Someone help me.
Blink twice.
But
No, I think, like you, I am trying to be more self-aware and not overreact or go from 0 to 10. I mean, it just
yeah.
something to work on.
But not because of other people.
We do need to keep in mind they're kids, and they're not always going to know when to always do the right thing. But we do have to have that expectation and hold them accountable.
Right. Because eventually they will be human beings of society, and I don't know, high expectations or not, I don't want shitheads. Like, I don't want assholes. Like, we have expectations of them for a reason, and it's not because we
want to raise people who are going to be liked. And not little assholes who everyone dreads to be around.
Anyway, so that was our weekend of parenting. So that was interesting, to say the least.
It was definitely Saturday after dropping them off was definitely hard. It was harder than I expected.
Which it was crazy that
Yeah.
you were.
up until I dropped, it just became real. I mean, dropped him off and then kind of like, oh shit, like now, I mean, even though he had the gizmo, I knew he wasn't going to be using it like he did on Friday. So
Really? Because I definitely thought he'd be calling me all the
I knew
time.
he wouldn't.
Like with his friends, like, oh, you want to call my mom? She's so cool. No.
No, I knew it was
I had
gonna
wrong
be
expectations, I guess.
crickets. I thought
It was crickets, for
I
sure.
thought he was going to respond when we would text him or call. So that was a little different, but
He was busy,
yeah, he was busy.
but
and,
yeah.
and I mean, I don't know what you guys were doing, but I mean, I was busy helping my parents out, so that kind of helped take my mind off it. But then being home alone, it just was, it was different. Because I'm never home alone. I mean, it's either home with the kids or home with you or home with you and the kids.
Yeah. Was that
So
weird?
just being, oh yeah.
Do you have any, like, we were talking earlier, like, when I first got home, the problems of sleeping. Like, even though there are nights where the kids will sleep with me or Casey and both of our children and 3 of our dogs try and cram into a king-size bed, like, it's hard to not sleep next to you.
Yeah.
Like, it really... I had such a difficult time falling asleep both Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And I know how lame and ridiculous that sounds, but it's even if you're not in the room, like if you're downstairs, because there are some nights where you have to stay up and work on realty stuff, and I'm beat, so I just go to bed. I still sleep fine. It must be just like knowing you're in the house or you're going to come
Yeah,
to
I
bed
think-
eventually. But
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know.
knowing that it's,
You had a king-size bed all to yourself. How did you sleep?
I didn't have it to myself. I had Sammy, Baymax, and Joey. So Sammy has to lay on top of you, and Joey and Baymax have to lay right on top of your head.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of like just sleeping with the kids, except a lot more hair.
That's true. It's very true. So, we appreciate you guys joining us today on episode number 1.
I guess it could be episode 1.
Okay, episode number 1. From the Ground Up with Casey and Ashley. See you next time.